It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160 and 101.1 FM. Our conversation with our Indiana County Commissioners, brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Let's say hello to Commissioners Chairman Mike Keith, Commissioner Sherene Hess. I don't know that Commissioner Gorman is on with us this morning. Howdy, folks.
Good morning, Todd.
Good morning.
It's good to have you both with us. Let's start with our Commissioners Chairman. Mike, as we get rolling here this morning, we're about a month into this, aren't we already, this new way of doing business from a county level? What are some of the things that we're thinking about today?
Well, first of all, Todd, I just can't wait to the day that we're back to the normal where we're actually speaking to you inside the booth, because we know at that point that is going to be a great day.
You bet.
Especially throughout the nation. But one thing I wanted to speak about is we have the committee called the Emergency Operations Committee.
Mm-hmm.
This is a committee which is put together by a large number of agencies, not only county, but it includes like the hospital, your law enforcement. But it's this all those people as a whole pulling together to actually run an emergency operation throughout the county. And those meetings are held once a week, and they're facilitated by EMA Director Stutzman. And I would tell you that Indiana County needs to be proud, because the committee, what they've set forth, what they've laid out, and most of all, what they accomplish. I mean, it's huge endeavors. And the system has been tested. Actually, last week there was 2 situations where we actually had to put that system into operation. And believe me, those people actually worked throughout the long evenings and into the morning to make sure things happen.
What sorts of incidents would those have been, to give us an idea of how this committee works?
Well, basically, if you get a problem out there with issues on the coronavirus and having to deal with it in public situations, those are the kind of things that are put into play. You have to find the right people out there, and really just getting on there, making a few phone calls, it just domino effect right on down to actually dealing with the issue, and at the very end, getting into the completion part of it.
Yeah.
And it works out great.
One of the interesting things to me about it is you'll hear all the time that there are all kinds of struggles, trips and stumbles, and tangled up situations. It appears as if Indiana County has largely avoided most of those situations, those entanglements, haven't they?
For the most part, yeah. And that what it comes down to is actually being prepared like this committee is. I mean, this is one of those things that you talk about, you practice, but when you got to put it into play, that's when you really know that it's working.
Yeah.
Believe me, in Indiana County, it's working.
That's terrific news. Terrific news. Okay, so what else is going on with county government, especially with this COVID-19 crisis? You still have business to conduct as a county away from COVID-19, don't you?
We sure are. I mean, even though the courthouse is closed and the county facilities are closed, and again, we're looking for safety first. That's what it's all about. Yeah. But we are still operating, conducting business, as usual. Matter of fact, I had just gone over with our first quarter. We ended with the budget. And the budget that was adopted this year, right now, we're on track of meeting those numbers. The only thing that could be out of sorts is our emergency management, because they're dealing directly with the virus. They are the central resource center for the county, which they are getting equipment brought in so they can get passed out to all these different areas in the county.
Yeah. Let's bring Commissioner Hess into this conversation. Sherene, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
What are some of the things that you want to make note of here this morning?
Yeah, so our main objective is to get through this time with health and safety and welfare as our top goals. and we have our pandemic response plan, and as Commissioner Keith alluded to, a pretty well-oiled machine working together there to implement it. But at some point, the stay-at-home order is going to be lifted, and we're going to go back to to the activities that drove our local economies and brought us enjoyment and those kinds of things. And so while we are getting through it, and we know there's a lot of pain out there right now, we know our small businesses are really suffering. We know that our schools and our teachers and the administrators are trying hard to get educate our kids. We know there's a lot of gaps. We know people need to be fed, and there's just so many things to do, and you realize how interdependent all the systems are. So we are working with all of our partners, our business partners, our human services partners, our public safety partners, and to think about what does it look like after we kind of emerge from this thing that's sort of taken over all of our lives.
Is there an idea?
So we are looking at. Sorry?
Is there an idea that some of the things we thought of as long-term goals need to be boosted a little bit quicker? I'm thinking of broadband right now because we're seeing how vital it has become in today's society, and how short we and practically every other county around these parts falls in terms of broadband availability.
Yes, for sure. And we have our state legislative team, Senator Pittman and Representative Struzzi, and the county commissioners and REA, and a number of local partners working together on doing some pilot projects. We do have a grant from the Department of Community Economic Development that's going to help us get started, but it is a long road. But we see some glimmers of hope. It's just there's a lot of moving parts to that. But yes, that is definitely a significant thing that we're working on. We're also working on our workforce development, how we're going to match up, workers with employers, training support. We're still working on, building out the Westmoreland Community College projects at the Technology Center, our conservation district, which is a key plays an integral role in development. Is we're waiting for the day we can resume the building on that. Our airport transportation, our public transit systems. I mean, these are all things that all work together in a cog, so to speak, to really support our small businesses, to support our our light industry that we're trying to work on. And we also really concerned about agriculture. We've seen some processing plants close across the state and across the nation, and here our dairy farmers are suffering one thing after another. So all those things work together, and it's so we are trying to work on sort of a 30,000-foot view, but also trying to gather all the moving parts.
As we think about the election having been postponed until June, and we're hearing from other counties that maybe there's an idea that they're going to have to consolidate some polling places and make people travel a little bit further to cast their vote. Is there any of that sort of a contingency going on within Indiana County, or have you not had a chance to take a look at how the election is actually going to happen once we get to June?
Well, yesterday, speaking with Rob and Mary, right now everything is on track. She is actually reaching out to the poll workers again to make sure that they're all in place, and we've actually talked about the different areas and everything. But so far, we're still on target to what we're going to do as far as the county goes.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Now we just need to convince people, hopefully, that by that time it is safe to go outside and to cast your vote. Sometimes that can be a difficult thing anyway.
Yes, that's a concern.
I think that people will actually use common sense and do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, anything else we need folks to know about Indiana County government and how it's working, and some of the things that they need to be aware of as these next few weeks unfold before us and we get back to, hopefully, reopening the economy?
Well, that's the other thing is we're kind of waiting for our the governor to actually bring down to us as far as the reopening, but we are going ahead, and we are working on a plan. So whenever we get that we're going to be able to unfold it. The other thing, as far as government and our budget, we're actually looking at restructuring our finances because, as everybody knows, the percentage of the interest rates has come down. So we're actually taking a look at that to see if we can actually do some good there.
Now, that's interesting you say that because yesterday in Marshall Criswell's segment, he was talking about homeowners might want to look at refinancing right now because the interest rates have dropped so dramatically. From a county government sense, I guess that makes sense too, doesn't it?
Almost certainly,
Yeah.
because we do have that debt out there that it needs paid. But if we can actually shave some dollars off of that, we're going to do that. I mean, we're looking at every aspect of business as it goes through the county.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, County Commissioner Mike Keith and Commissioner Sherene Hess, thank you for being with us here today. Be safe.
Sure, Todd.
Thank
Just one
you.
thing I want to mention is remember the census. We want to make sure that those people can get that census and do it online. Those numbers, those people, that's $20,000 per person who does not fill that out.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because we got the numbers yesterday for Indiana County's participation rate, and it's not as good as it should be. These are people that have time now because they're home, so we definitely need to get people responding.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Mm-hmm.
Very good. All right, thank you both.
Thank you, Todd.
It is
Have a
the
great
voice,
day.
you too. It's the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160 and 101.1 F.